Hello guys, it's Susanna here. As you can see, I've been pretty busy behind the scenes. I found my bag with the threads and bits and pieces that because originally, because it was done, the first video was I think in February or something like that. People had packs and kits. So I found the threads because I need this colour thread, which is this one, to do this thread along here. So what I've done, I got this piece here, and that's going to be the other side of the little baggy box pouchy thing, and because this has already got wadding on there, I pulled apart the pieces. And this is what I got left, which is going to work really well because I'll use that as the edging. So I just measured it, and as you can see, some of the pieces, like that's been cut off. I've even done the flower, that's and the top of the vase. And I had the tape originally, and also there was a tiny little flower thing. Here we go. That was there, which I cut, unpicked. So what I'm going to do, look, distraction. I'm using this to put in all my little motifs, which is good. Been needing a little pouch for that. So what I'm going to do, I've even got some of this little bit, is I've just sort of pinned stuff down. Originally in the kit it had this, and that was going to go around here. So I've got this piece here because there was a underneath here, I'll show you that, and I had to cover it. So I just thought I'm going to put just a bit of sari silk, because this is a sewing scene, so we use bits and pieces. So, and then I found this, and I'm going to scroll that around there. So got bits and pieces, and then I've got my little this is my little jar of special buttons and bits and pieces. So I've got a little collection, and I'm going to scatter some of them in between, and also just put a couple there. I wanted to have something that can look like I'm stitching, so I've sort of gathered it up because it has to sort of match this a little bit, but I just wanted something. So I have managed to cut off some of the bits and pieces, but this is being a real work in progress, and I thought I really wanted to slow stitchify it, if you know what I mean. So this is Kath Kidson fabric, which is from that doona that I had, and some people that are doing this have bought some of the Kath Kidson fabric that I had, said, well, this is what I'm going to be using. So all I did was just, measured it around, and I based it on this other bit of fabric. I wanted it to work, so I just fitted it to work. So if you want, you can still keep it in that hoop. You can do whatever you want with it. This is like, I make these projects and I do what I want with them, and you guys can do what you want with them, which is the whole point, because everybody does stuff differently. So I've still got to stitch, around this guy. Move this out the way. So I've got the threads that I have been using, and I did, like I said, I found a little bag of, because in the kits I had threads. So I did find that. Also, I had only stitched to that point because, it had been cut off, but now that I made it square, so I had to re-go in here and stitch. So, so I made sure I finished the top one. So I've got to still just got to do the roses, just a stem stitch around these, so finish them off. And then I'm just going to stitch around this guy. I'm thinking, I think there was this which is what I use for that, but I want something a little bit more substance. I wonder if I could use that. Yeah, I think I will. There we go. It's got a bit of that there. Yeah, just to make it a bit more yellower. It's a bit thicker. So, and I needed something in that corner. Originally I had a pink one, but I found this. This is what I got in Robinson. I had a little pack from, what's the name of the lady that actually owns the Green Door Studio? She had little packs, and this was one of the bits that were in there. And so I've put that there rather than having it here. I thought I'm going to utilise it. And then these are the little bits and pieces that I had left over from when I made this. I just love how it's turned out. Just little snippets. So what I'm going to do is I've got to stitch that down first. And then I added another piece because I'm going to have a yo-yo, and then, you know, have it like, well, these are bits of fabrics that I'm working with, because this is a sewing theme. So we've got the threads, we've got the little sewing machine, your cup of tea while you're stitching, your thimble, you know, and you have the buttons, and have some buttons scattered, bit of lace. So what I might do is, I've got that stitched down to there. I'm just showing you because, you know, we've already done part 6 and it does seem to be taking a while. I did have a little one of these in my own thing, which I was going to put here. I've got Sue's, but I think it's gone on the floor. It's gone somewhere. I'll probably find it when I do a clean up. Yeah, is it maybe underneath here? I don't know. So I still might do that. I've got Sue's written on there, but I just think these little labels are quite nice. So take 2. And that'll sit on there like that. I think I kind of like it. Okay, so I might have to stitch that down first, and I will, so glad I found this in France. I mean, it's SE, and it said it is SE on the box, but it almost looks like a T or an F or something, but it is an SE. I know it's an SE, that's the main thing. Now, okay, what we're going to do is I'll stitch this down. I just need it to go in there and just be tucked in the corner. Normally I fold these edges over, but I need the length. So, and the reason why I'm just sticking that down is because I'd like to get some thread and stitch this down. So I might do that with you today. So that's going to go there, and that's this thread. So what I will do is I'm just going to use whatever colour thread I used, and I'm going to get one strand and just do a little back stitch. And rather than using silver, because it is a bugger to work with, as you can see, I'm going to use this grey. And once again, having stranded cotton is good because you can have, you know, just have one thread. So I'll probably use one thread to stitch around that, and then I'm going to use that same one thread to have like a stitching line to, you know, that's where I've stitched, and here's the thread, you know, coming out. So even though the thread probably wouldn't be that way, it'd be more at the back, but you know, this is a license. The artistic license. Okay, so I'm going to use, this has proven to be really good button. I love it. So this is what I did when I was sewing my what do we call it, the Christmas tree. I'd use this technique to sew down the, the what are they called? Oh my goodness, the words today. I'm just checking. Yep, just checking that I'm actually filming. Yeah, the Christmas tree that from my workshop, and it had these beautiful floaty streamery bits. So I just stitched them down, and I loved doing it. So that's probably going to go over the top. So what I'm going to do, I might move these. Okay, any bits that don't really need stitching, I might even take that off. We could probably pin those together. I love the way that this is really raggedy. I'm probably just going to do like a, what do they call that, little running stitch. Okay, oh my goodness, I am really bad today. Okay, so all we do is we just pop in a stitch and randomly all over the place, enough to hold it down, and you can even manipulate the fabric to do what you want. Okay, and I'm going to put in that lace too. So at the moment all I'm doing is just sitting this down. I will come back in. I'd like to come back in with some French knots. So at the moment I'm just going to quickly stitch down. I might use this to get rid of my pins. So that it's just being held down, but then I'm going to come back in and put buttons and all that kind of stuff. I'm really loving this piece now. It's sewing, and I really wanted to have something that's representative of what we do. Do sewing stuff, and now I'm slow stitching it as it's slow stitchifying it with some of the new techniques we've used. So just stitching it down to get rid of the pins. So yeah, so you just put around and do what is going to suit you, if you know what I mean, your piece. So this would make a good cushion, but you wouldn't want to sit on it. Or you could probably frame this. Might go back and grab some of that. I think I'm going to bring it more forward, because it just feels like it's so high up, and everything else here is just in the way. I got my coats box just to see. Yeah, it was white in the middle, and I've got to go around it. I might go around it in a darker colour. Put that out of the way so it doesn't fall on it. Okay. So quickly do that, but also while I'm here, I'm going to stitch this down. I will go back over that properly later, like I'll stitch it down properly, but for now I'm just going to give it a couple of invisible stitches, and later I'm going to go like around it just so it's being held down. Yeah, at least that's not going anywhere. The glue's okay, but only goes so far. Okay. I love the way sari silk has creases, and it can be, you know, easily manipulated. So we need to make sure, where are we? There, that we cover that line. And you know, sometimes things that need to happen, like as in I need to cover this line, work out to be a really good feature in the piece, which is what I love. Okay, probably bring that up a little. Might go back. Okay. I still need to work on my Roxy's Journal of Stitchery. Yeah, I've gotten like a backing piece for it now. In my local antique shop in Smarsdale, I bought she has blankets, and she actually has them fairly cheap, so I bought a nice blanket with pretty pastel colours, and that's going to be the backing. As in, like, instead of wadding, I'll use the blanket. Okay. Put that away. I'll be glad to get rid of these pins, I tell you. And that's why we're doing this. So, and then you come along and add French knots and really embellish it. So what I need to do, might very roughly sewn. What I initially really wanted to do with this is make it, you know, quite 3D. Okay, so I'm going to tuck that in there. Attach it with this. Yep. Because in a sewing room, you have bits of lace, and you have these bits just sitting around. So, and I want to do it so it's, you know, sort of going and looking a little bit more 3D. Oh, this, need to put them over there. They're driving me nuts. Okay. See, need to take out the pins. There we go. There we go. Okay. Now this is just a piece of a doily that, you know, has had the edges taken off. I'll do that. hold that there. Just sort of manipulate it to go where you want it to go. Might have to go that way. Sorry guys, I just need to know how I'm doing it. And I want little bits, you know, tucked and rolled. There we go. Because I'm going to be putting buttons in between as well. So pin that. See, that's a thick doobie. There we go. There we go. Okay. Hopefully my hands are probably totally in the way and you guys can't see what I'm doing. Here we go. It's a bit of a thing what I'm doing. Okay. Now where's me? There it is. And I'm probably going to come in with some thread and see how it's got these holes. I like to stitch down with that. Now I'd like to keep that because I want to tuck a button in there. So I want to keep it on a bit of an angle. So I might have to stitch it down like this. Need to move this. Yep. Oh. No. Okay. At least with this one, you can see me doing a little bit stitching, even though it's none too exciting for you guys, but you get the drift of the you know, the way I want to go with it. And this bit of thing is getting a little small, but if I can quickly stitch it down, and then I've got to come back. It's enough to get it down, I can do it. And tuck it in underneath that bit of silk. It's a really pointy needle. Okay, grab it a bit more. Okay, now I am going to come back in with some French knots and bits and pieces just to secure it down a bit more and add a bit of texture. Maybe some what are they called? The little seed stitches. Geez, I make work for myself. Okay. Okie dokie. Now, what I would like is a selection I've still got to come back in and just do some French knots and bits, but I like how that's looking. So what I want to do in there is, actually I might keep this, like I like this button, but it's got that nib, so I might have to tuck that one in there. And then I've got some tiny little ones. I'm just wondering whether, oh yep, it's going to go through, so I could probably, you know, scatter that in there like that. I've got this big one, which I'm just going to have a couple sitting along here. Really love the shine of these guys. That might go in. Chuck you in there. And I could probably chuck him. I like the way that it's got, even though that is the mother of pearl, but it's got that reddy colour in there. So what else? There is one in particular. There we go. See, it's patterned. Isn't it pretty? Oh, I like. Okay, let's get some more thread. Where are we? Here we go. This has been the best. $15. And you got all this awesome thread, and then when that's finished you have this spool. So good. Okay. So what we ought to do is start on the top and work our way around. Love this. This is what reminds me of my cat, who is actually over there sleeping. She's so cute. She's a cheeky girl, but she's beautiful. So I'm really happy. I would never have thought when I first you know, designed this and the intention was I was going to use it for, that it's, you know, going to end up like this. Over the time I've, you know, been watching new people on YouTube, being inspired. I just love the way that Sherry Iris does her little journals and does all this sort of stuff. It just is so pretty. I mean, and Jessie Chorley does this sort of stuff too. So you get inspiration from watching other people, and I love the way they do it. I mean, it's really funny. I've got people that I watch on YouTube, you know, who I'm subscribed to and who I tend to watch, and I find it's quite funny. I've got a lot of English people. Was that there? And that one there. This one's definitely going to be in there. And that one there. Or do we put that one there? Yeah, I think so. I think we need we've got a couple of these, so just got to remember where they go. And often these are a little bit dirty, so I'm going to spit and polish because they are natural. They do have a bit of, you know, dirt and stuff in them. Isn't it pretty? Just the way it sparkles. It's so gorgeous. So I'm still going to be working on doing everything, but sometimes you just stop. This is still decorating. I just wanted to do this and see how it was going to look. And I like the way that that has got the SE in the corner. Oh my goodness, you can't always feel it. There we go. I think that's the way I was coming through. Oh well, as long as it's being held down. And then it's also holding down the what's underneath as well. Okay. Now I go a bit further down. I can't be bothered unthreading, that's why I get a long piece. And then come up in here. Because this has got that on there, and I'll have to come in we'll have to do a few stitches and make sure that that is being held. Oh no, don't want it stitched onto the lace. No, because the lace has got to go over the top. Struggle is real, people. Struggle is real. Alright. Has that just broken? Yes, it has. I think I'm going to need a stronger thread. Okay. Where has it come out here? Because it's all the same, I don't know where it is. Because I use that same cotton. So what I'm going to have to do, yeah, I'll get back to that. I might have to use a thicker. This one's a little thicker, or actually use, yeah, it's a bit finer, that one. It's good. The only thing is I've got to find where this is, so that the button doesn't come undone. Which what I might do is grab that, and I'm going to stitch around that and then cut it, so that at least is being held down. Because I've used the same colour, I have no idea where I can pull it out. So there we go. Just have this bit, it'll tuck in underneath. Now, take two. Now these are the type of buttons that you want to use, but they are quite big and cumbersome, and you don't know often how they are going to work. Okay, here we go. So I need to manipulate it so it sort of sits on a bit of an angle and tucks out through the little hole there, which we might pin that away. See, good. Where is it? Here we go. Oh, watch Susanna struggle. That's just fantastic. Okay, we'll do it. What I might do is come in from the top. There we go. And then just go around and around. Where's my, there it is. You can just feel it when you don't use this. You can feel the sharpness of the needle on your little fingies. Who would have thought sewing a button would be such a struggle? Okay. Now, okay, we'll undo that. And then there we go. And that's when it's now tucked down, which I will pull this down and it's tucked on a bit of an angle. There we go. Now, I don't know, I think I've got a couple of these. I wouldn't mind having a couple in a cluster. So what do we got? These are the little ones that I've picked out. Ooh, that's pretty. And then that's going to go in there. Yep. Hopefully this one will be okay. Yep. There you go. They're pretty small. How many minutes have we got so far? So, and then I'll come back in with maybe a nice wool or something. Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah, I like that. Something like soft and antique-y looking. Maybe these two, and I'll come back in and do French knots, and I think that's a bit much. That might be great to stitch around that. And do, you know, a few little bits and pieces. So this will be a behind the scenes project. It is so hard to see where you're going when they're just this tiny. You feel your way through. Usually like to do 3 stitches. Okay. And then come up on the other side. There we go. So this is more embellishing rather than working on the actual piece. But yeah, I just sewed around. A lot of it is just doing satin stitch around your piece and, you know, picking the colours. So I've done that. Now okay, and lucky last, okay. So yeah, there's still plenty of spots available in the vintage Christmas workshop. If I don't fill it, I may have to I don't know what I'll have to do. I might have to figure out something else, because they want a certain amount in the Sebastopol Bowling Club. So if I don't have enough to fill it, I might have to just show how to do it, you know, put them on my website, the kits, and show how to do it on my channel. Just see how I go. I mean, it's still fairly early days. It's not until November, but I do want to give them a bit of notice because I've booked the spot in the bowling club, and need to give them a bit of notice if it doesn't pan out. So yeah, it's just a bit hard because it is a local project. Oh, that is so pretty. I like it. Now, so I will come back and do a little bit more stitching. I might use the rest of this to stitch the SE down a little more. And I think that's it. Here we go. 40 minutes. Isn't it pretty? It's so cute. And then we've got these bits which are going to go down there. I'm just going to do some canvas stitch, I think. I love the way that it looks. Whether I have that sitting on the top or want it to come into the piece a little bit. Okay. I'll just tuck this one in underneath. That's actually a bit of the fabric from the oh my goodness, my words today, Christmas tree. I just thought it would be nice to have it on there. And so this is like a fabric selection. This I'm probably just going to do some stitching and just a couple of these and maybe a couple of buttons, I don't know, but gee, I love how that looks. It looks so pretty. So this is how you can embellish your piece, just using a bit of sari silk, an old like a doily edge that I've cut off a doily. You know how your doilies have. I've got a sample of one. I don't think so, but you know what I mean, when you have a doily and it's got the edge, the sewn edge. Where are we? Here we go. This is a bit bigger, but see how it's a doily and it's got a sewn edge on this. This was part of the kit too. Originally I was going to have this hanging out and hanging over the hoop, but it's just so big. Oh, here we go. Here we go. See how you got the doily and you've got the crocheted edge, which is whole, so it's being you know, that's the edging, and so that's where it goes, and the way that it sits, and you can manipulate it. Oh, I'm happy with that. It is so cute. Okay, yeah, if this doesn't inspire you to, you know, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to stitch, you know, this little spot, I think it should look really good. Okay, we'll put this back in here, so I can take a shot, and when I come back next, it'll probably have a lot more done, but basically the main thing, like I did need to show you to do that, and you know how to do the flowers. So this, grab something that's going to match that. I'm just going to do stem stitch one thread along here, and I'm just going to do like a backing stitch just along there so it looks like it's being sewed, but I really quite like how it's being ruffled like that. So what I might do is pin that down like this, keep it like that, and yeah, because I need to stitch that, and so I know that will go there, but I've got to stitch this first. Okay guys, well, I will catch you, there probably will be one last part, maybe two, because I've got to put it together yet, so yeah, it's quite a long process. Yeah, okay guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you later. Bye. Sorry for my fumbles today. Oh, just don't know what's wrong with me. See ya.